everyone, RemanX here, and we're going to be following up on a video I did relatively recently about the power trend that's been happening in the game, and I'm going to isolate some things that were good about it, and more importantly, some things that were bad about it, and hopefully try to give us some insight and try to make the game fun again as best we possibly can with everything going on. So we're going to talk a little bit about our rosters, and you could see all these G15s, these G14s, these near max characters with ISO level 5s, 4s, 3s, just thrown out there willy-nilly because of the fact that we realistically had to account for some of the power gains from ISOs and from building to try to do the Doom raids. So the reason why some of these changes feel bad is because realistically, this is the first time that we've had to have 5 different raid teams for everyone in the Alliance. So we're going to talk about something that probably was near and dear to your hearts. If you guys have been playing the game for long enough, you guys remember the early iterations of Greek raids and, you know, working with your Alliance and being like, hey, dude, did you bring up Ultimus? You want to try him in the Creed node? You got a big Captain Marvel, right? Why don't you do Minerva, Captain Marvel, you know, Ultimus, and let's see how that works out. All right? Or you've got big defenders. Let's have you do the city lane here. So there was definitely where you would basically pick and choose players to build up certain elements of their roster and assign them to those lanes going forward. It built camaraderie. It let them fill certain holes in your raid. And it also kind of built loyalty. They were building up something for you and was unique to that alliance. Finding a place in a different alliance would be relatively difficult. So the problem we have is when you apply this to the main raid, to the main non-themed raid, having all these wide rosters. And by the way, the writing's been on the wall for a while. RTA and even the Greek slider, to a certain degree, was talking about having a wider roster. But the fact that we now have to add ISO to the mix is potentially a feels bad. The fact that you have to have, like I said, 5 separately built up teams with ISOs, it feels like we're gearing up teams faster than we can acquire gear and resources for them. And you're not wrong. And that's the problem. So the biggest problem with the game is not that there's bottlenecks, it's that we're hitting all these bottlenecks together at the same time. Realistically, you were able to pick and choose where you built up your roster based on the passion you had for a certain team. And unless you were a content creator who was trying to showcase certain characters in different environments, yeah, by the way, no pity on me. I'm not saying that like I have it worse than anybody else here. You weren't bringing up characters all the time to max to bring them up. But now with the ISO requirements, it feels differently. And so we're going to talk about something that's always been a problem at the game level and realistically what the real problem was, and probably always will be in Marvel Strike Force. It's going to come down to red stars. So why are red stars a problem? Well, we're going to talk about something. Red stars are the least amount of agency you have on your roster. The random gains you get from hitting the lottery, by the way, that's what it feels like when you get a large pull on a red star, or from simply failing to get the desired red star on a key character on your roster, could be debilitating to your experience with the game. That amount of fun that you have if you're building up your heroes for hire and you get a 6 red star on Misty Knight, but only get a 2 red star. I'm saying this because these are actual real scenarios. A 2 red star on Colleen Wing feels differently, and it feels like, should you invest in a team anymore? And so promotion credits, while a welcome change, probably still don't happen fast enough to entice most of us to build up our roster. So I'm going to talk about something that I noticed recently is they kind of moved the goalpost here. And so if you guys think back, I want to say what was December, when the Doom raids showed up in the game, there was a mass amount of outrage when the recommendation said 6 red star, ISO level 3. Okay. Well, now I'm going to click on it now, and I'm going to talk about something very, very concerning. The in-game communication, yet again, It says fight your way through the minions of doom. Recommendations. Recommendations? No. We're going to talk about that now. Red Stars 5+, different text than we've had before. ISO class tier 1 level 5. So even the game is pointing to us that ISOs have been stabilizing our rosters, helping us get that feeling of growth, and in some ways making characters function the way that they probably should by adding ISOs. So what I found is the majority of players never went above ISO level 3. And so if you brought several characters to ISO level 4, well, it's a factor of 3 each time you go up a level. 1, 3, 9, 27. Yeah. And then the big jump is insane. Okay? So when we talk about power gains, the overall time to completion, I've just been working on, since the announcement was made for the legendary requirements for Adam Warlock, who's my favorite character, I've had to go in and work on Jubilee, and I've only been refreshing her nose, and I just finished it up, but as usual, the ions are now a crunch here as I'm bringing up several other characters to test out ISO Blue and whatnot. I was able to take a look at this and pick out 2 characters that I thought were more valuable. Moondragon and Gamora for skill for my ISO level 5. But nowhere in that does it say, except for the in-game mail, does it say requires level 4 or level 5 for the raids. And the thing about it is ISO Blue's here. So ISO Blue is probably going to be fun. Probably. The problem is, will we want to play this game anymore when we get there? Some of the interactions are going to be cool. There's going to be a lot of science involved. And I have fun when I'm able to test teams and they come to the game to be able to challenge content. But the concern I have here right now is if we're challenging content, if your alliance decides to bring up characters to be able to do the Doom raids, and a brand new character comes out named Sam Wilson that makes the skill lanes a complete and total joke, and you've already built an entire character to be able to accomplish that task, will you have fun? So if you guys don't know it, right now there is a skill crunch going on. You need to anticipate the crunches that are happening in the game. Infinity Watch is a ton of fun to play. They're OP as heck. They're accomplishing many things that's surprising me. You'll see a lot of the footage I've been collecting and the videos I've been making. I've been showcasing them in Raid, War, and the like, and they aren't disappointing. So I don't think power leaps and power trends are bad for the game, because realistically it's happened before. And something you need to take into account is once Gamora becomes empowered, characters like well, specifically Kestrel, if you have the right window, Kestrel Black Bolt will be able to make sure she doesn't res, and you are quick to eliminate her. So they've already given us the solution to the problem that was in the game. Silver Surfer and Kestrel were gifts to be able to accomplish for the community with some theory crafting. To be able to challenge the heroes for hire, and to also be able to challenge the Infinity Watch when Adam Warlock shows up. So all of these things are something that if you make the right choices with your roster, if you're able to challenge the content that's important to you, you'll have fun. It's important to work with your alliance to kind of gauge where people's heads are at, to try to recalibrate and have fun being able to do what you can do in the game. In the end of the day, this is a game. And so we're going to showcase another video here. We're going to be talking tomorrow. I'll have the link in the description here with Halfsend. And we're going to talk about how this game feels when you're not able to participate with your alliance because you go away on vacation, something tragic happens in your life, or if your priorities don't put the game first. But it's important to try to have fun. You're playing a game after all, and if you're not having fun, maybe it's time to have a different conversation. But show up on Twitch. We're going to talk about ways to use this. Remember, I do things so you don't have to. I'm going to try to find some fun at the light at the end of this tunnel. I'm still hopeful that they can make some changes here. I really want Adam Warlock to be amazing. Catch you soon.